$5 mat versus $200 mat. Is there really that much difference? Let's talk about it. I've committed to yoga every day 4 years ago and have been doing that ever since. So trust me when I say that I've tried a bunch of mats. And the goal of this video is to help you to find the right mat for your kind of practice, because there's so many different kinds of mats and so many different kinds of yogis. Maybe you are a casual practitioner or a daily practitioner like me, or an exceptionally sweaty yogi. There is a mat out there for your kind of practice. So hopefully by the end of this video you will understand what mat works for you. Just a little disclaimer, it's amazing to have a great mat that works with you, but it is one of the least important things when practicing yoga. Practicing yoga is all about doing it and coming to it. It's great when you have a great mat to do it, but that is not the determining factor of your practice happening and being great. So keep in mind, having a great mat is definitely a great boost to your practice, but it is definitely not the most important thing. To explore the perfect mat, let's go back in time. How did the ancient yogis practice yoga? The regular people in ancient times would use grass, sand, stone to connect with the earth, which lies in the root of the philosophy of this practice. And only sages and very advanced yogis were using the skins of animals such as deer and tiger. And that is something that didn't linger for too long because of the ethical concerns and the efforts to preserve life. So this is when the traditional cotton, wool, and silk yoga mats came in, and yogis were using that for centuries to practice on. And only recently in the 60s have we discovered these rubber mats that most of us are practicing on nowadays. Before we dive into comparison of the $5 mat versus $200 mat, let's determine the main types of yoga mats and who they might be for. But if you're just here to see the comparison of the two, just skip to the chapter that I marked. The first mats that probably every other person has in their house are the PVC mat, which stands for polyvinyl chloride mats, which is a type of plastic. They're widely available, lightweight, and durable. But the cons are that they are non-eco-friendly, they can be very slippery when wet, and have very strong odor. These kind of mats are perfect for beginners and for those on the budget. The next kind of mat is TPE yoga mats. Those mats are a blend of plastic and rubber, which makes them a little more eco-friendly than the PVC. They are lightweight. These kind of mats could be perfect for a casual yogi who's looking for a balance of sustainability and affordability. My experience with TPE mats is that they usually have them in a lot of gyms. The next type of mats are natural rubber yoga mats. It is made from biodegradable, non-toxic, natural rubber. Pros are it has an excellent grip and provides great cushioning. They do tend to be heavier and can have a rubbery smell at first. And of course, they may be a little more expensive. These types of mats are best for regular yogis, hot yoga practitioners, and eco-conscious users. There are also cork mats, which is a combination of cork on top and rubber or TPE on the bottom. Pros, these are naturally antimicrobial, non-slip, especially when wet, and eco-friendly. The cons, they are more expensive and may require more maintenance. These types of mats are best for hot yoga, sweaty sessions, and eco-friendly enthusiasts. And of course, there are still cotton mats around. These are highly absorbent, eco-friendly, and comfortable. However, they can lack cushioning, can slip on hard floors, and require a mat placed underneath to not slip. These mats are great for traditional yoga styles like Ashtanga, meditation, or travel. There are also jute yoga mats, which I had never heard before I started making this video. And these are yoga mats that are made from natural jute fibers with rubber or TPE base. These mats are eco-friendly, lightweight, breathable, and it has a textured grip. Cons of it, they do have less cushioning and could be a little rough on the skin. These mats are best for environmentally conscious yogis and some gentle yoga styles. I did see those very popular alignment yoga mats. This looks really fun. I've never tried one, but I would love to one day. And if you're working on your alignment and your technique, if you're a beginner, these could be great to help you, especially in your home practice. So as you can see, there's lots of variations, and which mat is right for you really depends on your budget and your type of practice. But to give you a rough outline, if you're a beginner, you can definitely benefit from getting something more affordable like PVC or TPE mat. This is something that I have used. This is my outdoor mat. It is not the best mat that I've ever used, but it gets the job done, and this is something that I don't mind getting dirty. However, it is something that is a little bit more on the nastier side with time. It kind of falls apart, and if you're doing a lot of sweaty practices, maybe not the safest choice. That takes me to the next type of practitioner, which are yogis who love some hot yoga or are extremely sweaty, and this is where a cork mat or rubber mat would be best for its non-slip qualities. I have this B-mat rubber mat, and this is one of the grippiest mats I've ever had. It is very thin because I bought it for travel. Grippiest mat I've ever tried, and it's definitely good for those sweaty sessions. But there are lots of other brands that make the cork mat mats that are really good being non-slip and just specifically hot yoga mats. So you can explore all types of brands out there. And of course, if you're more of a traveler and on the go, thinner mats would be best. There are different kinds of thin mats out there. You can find PVC, TPE mats, or rubber mat. This is my choice. You could also have one of those cotton mats that could be very portable and lightweight. Trust me, when you're a traveler, it really makes a difference between carrying something like this and like this. And sometimes because you have a thicker mat, you don't even bring a mat when you're traveling. But if you're a devoted yogi, you know how great it is to have a mat everywhere you go. So I love that I have this option. If you are looking for a little more joint support, if you have pains and looking for something with more cushioning, thicker mat might be your go. I think this one is 5-6 millimeter Lululemon mat. This was actually my first ever yoga mat. This is something that is very comfortable, supports you in your practice, especially if you have more pain in your joints, and just overall it's much more comfy than, for example, my travel mat. So that brings us to a final question. What is the difference between the $5 mat and a $200 mat? This is my $5 mat. This is something that I got from my friend. It is definitely dangerous when wet, but does the job if you're more of a beginner and just trying things out. Great thing about the cheap mats, I don't have to take super good care of it, and to be honest, it is kind of hard to take good care of it because it does absorb smells and dirt really easily. This is something that did deteriorate with time in a very ugly way, but it is an option. If that helps you to get into yoga, you know, whatever takes you there. And this is where I definitely want to mention that the most important part of the practice is the practice, not really the mat. And whatever helps you to practice is the best option for you. When I first started doing yoga every day, I didn't even have a yoga mat. I would practice on the floor or use this thin camping mattress, which I have no idea how I managed to practice on. Now thinking back, very wobbly. The more you practice, the more yoga starts to become part of your lifestyle, the more there is manifestation going out there for a great yoga mat for you. This is how it happened for me. My sisters-in-law gifted me this beautiful mat, my first ever yoga mat, this Lululemon mat, and it was the best gift ever. I used it every day ever since. I worn this one down, and it's definitely nowhere near as grippy as it used to be. 2 years, I would say, of everyday use. I can't use this side because it's too slippery, but this side is definitely still grippy. At that time when I first started doing yoga, I didn't even consider such an expensive mat for myself, and somehow it just appeared in my life from people observing how I love yoga and give me this beautiful gift, which is a great example of how your dedication and your perseverance with your practice, with whatever means you have, is what's gonna bring, you know, better things into your life regardless. Keep doing yoga, whatever options you have, with whatever mat or non-existing mat you have. It's better than you waiting for the right mat to start yoga, which is honestly an excuse. And that brings me to my latest addition, this beautiful $200 Manduka Pro mat. I've been eyeing it for a couple of years now. It is gorgeous, gorgeous. Also gift to me. I mean, I did kind of hint, and this is what I conveniently got for my birthday, which I am super grateful for. This is one of the best gifts ever. So how does it compare to the $5 mat? This mat is actually very unique because I got it extra long. I am a taller person, so this upgrade is definitely so much more comfortable. I used to shift around to adjust to the mat, but now this is a mat that caters to my whole height, so I don't have to shimmy around and fit into the mat during my flows, which is honestly so freeing. But my height aside, because not everyone is as long as I am, this mat has other good reasons to be that expensive. Funnily enough, this $200 mat and this $5 mat are both PVC, but this one is meant to last forever. The specific mat from Manduka that is called Pro Mat is something that has closed cell system that prevents mat from getting moisture inside and bacteria. So this mat is very durable and can last a lifetime. What I really liked about this mat is that Manduka is a very responsible company, so if this mat doesn't really serve you as well with frequent use, this is something that you can exchange, or if you're done using it, you can also use their recycling program, which is great. This is now my everyday home mat. This is something that I use daily and I'm so happy with it. It does not absorb smells and it's very easy to clean. So is it worth $200? To me, yes, it does. This is something that gave me the custom feature of being extra long. This is something that is so comfortable and I can rely on without thinking about buying a new mat. As some of you may know, I am on my minimalist journey, and having less things is something that genuinely brings me joy and lightness. Finding a mat that provides me with that security of it lasting with my practice is something that is worth it for me. This Lululemon mat, it was a beautiful gift. It's a gorgeous mat, but I honestly was a little bit disappointed in how little it lasted. It only lasted me like couple of years before it started becoming unbearably slippery. It pained me when this mat wore out because it's still beautiful, it's still something that I would love to practice on, but it's done. It doesn't support my practice anymore. So I would like to have something that lasts way longer than a couple of years. Even though this was quite pricey too, as far as I know. It was a gift. And even this B mat, which is also quite pricey, especially their thicker mats, is one of the grippiest mats that I have ever tried. It was so grippy when I first got it, and I kept practicing in it also for a couple of years. First it was my travel mat, and then it was my daily mat. Very thin, I know, this is why I wanted a thicker mat after, but I was actually surprised that it stopped being grippy at some point. It is getting more and more slippery, which makes me so sad because this is such a good mat, but it also wore out. And maybe for people who don't practice every day, it would happen slower and double the time, but it does still happen. And for me personally, I just want my mat to be capable of more, especially my daily mat. I don't want to go through mats every couple of years, so I'm very happy I invested into something that could maybe keep up with me. Like I said, there's lots of different options, lots of different mats for different types of practitioners. So just see what suits you best. And I could see myself growing as a yogi with this mat. And this is what matters to me. Browse around, see what's out there, but mainly keep doing your practice and develop yourself as a yogi, and the right mat will come into your life eventually. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. It was a pleasure as always. I would love to know what kind of mats are you practicing on right now, if any, and if there's any mats that you started considering after this video. I'd love to chat about that. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye!